Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Merry Devil of Edmonton, and today we get to hear from Sir Arthur Clare in Act 1, Scene 1. We're on our third monologue, but we've just made it to the first actual scene of the play. We had two bits of the prologue before, wherein the scene was set that it was a dark and stormy night, and we learned that Peter Fable is a scholar and a magician, and he had made a deal with the devil that the devil could take his soul in exchange for having these magical powers. And when the evil spirit came to collect the soul, Peter tricked the spirit into sitting in this enchanted chair that he couldn't get out of until he agreed to give Peter 7 more years on Earth. And the spirit was very upset about this. He's like, all right, 7 years from right now, I'm coming back to get you. And Peter's like, okay, you go back to your fiends. I'm going to go find my friends. So we have the idea that Peter has some sort of plot. Act 1, Scene 1, we get to meet a whole different cast of characters. We are at the St. George Inn, and we're with Sir Arthur Clare, whose wife is Lady Dorcas, and his daughter is Millicent, and his son is Henry. And they see the host, and they greet the host, and everything's very fun and back and forth and very kind and jolly, just like, hey, old friend, sort of thing. And Sir Arthur Clare is like, is Mount Chenzy here yet? And the host is like, no, he's not here, but if I see him, I'll let you know. So the host goes off to like get their drinks and get them some food and stuff like that. And Arthur Clare takes his wife aside. He's like, please step aside here, my lady. I need to speak to you for a minute. And Millicent is like, I hope that they're not talking about me. So she listens into this whole conversation, even though Sir Arthur Clare was like, Millicent really needs to not hear this. So he's talking to his wife, and he's like, you know that the reason that we're here is because we're supposed to arrange the marriage between our daughter Millicent and Mount Chenzy's son. And the wife is like, yeah, obviously that's why you're here. Like, is there something wrong with that? And he's like, well, they've been sort of dating for about 2 years, and we made this agreement, but there's some things that I'm learning that are maybe causing a bit of concern. And Millicent is like, what could this possibly be? And Sir Arthur Clare says, for look you, wife, the riotous old knight hath o'errun his annual revenue in keeping jolly Christmas all the year. The nostrils of his chimney are still stuffed with smoke, more chargeable than cane tobacco. His hawks devour his fattest dogs, whilst simple, his leanest curs, eat him hounds carrion. Besides, I heard of late his younger brother, a turkey merchant, hath sure sucked the night by means of some great losses on the sea. That, you conceive me, before God all is naught. His seat is weak, thus, each thing rightly scanned, you'll see a flight, wife, shortly of his land. So what he's saying is this Mount Chenzy has spent all of his money. He just keeps throwing parties all the time and spending way too much, and he has no money left. He's been burning through all of his coal. His hawks are eating his dogs are eating carrion, and his brother, who is a turkey merchant, had apparently some great losses at sea that he tried to help cover. So he's like, Mount Chenzy doesn't have anything left. This is maybe not the best match for our daughter. And his wife is like, oh, how do we get out of it? Then he's like, well, I have a plan. We'll send her to a nunnery. We'll tell him that we're sending her to a nunnery. And Millicent is over here like, oh my God, I would rather die than go to a nunnery. He's like, we'll tell him that we're sending her to a nunnery. So then the whole thing gets broken off. And his wife is like, well, is she just gonna stay there then? And he's like, no. A young woman can be in a nunnery for a year and a day without having to actually become a nun. We're just gonna leave her there for 3 months while I arrange for her to marry Sir Ralph Jenningham instead. And the wife is like, oh, this is a marvelous, marvelous plan. Yes, let's make this happen when Mount Chenzy shows up. And they go back to their table or whatever. And Millicent at the very end of the scene is like, there's no way I'm gonna be a nun. And there's no way that I'm going to marry anybody that isn't Mount Chenzy's son because I'm in love with him. And that's Act 1, Scene 1. So we've got a poor sir. We've got an arranged marriage that's going to be broken. We've got lies about nunneries. all sorts of intrigue setting the scene for Merry Devil of Edmonton. And eventually we're going to have to figure out how Peter Fable factors into all of it too. So come on back tomorrow for more as we figure it out. Mwah.